How to buy houses with credit cards. Today I bought a property using a credit card, and in this video I'm going to share with you exactly how I was able to do it. I usually don't do this, but Young Elder is my guy, and I want to give his people some game, so that you can get out there and start doing the same thing, especially if you're low on cash. What's up everybody, it's Ted Strokes. Welcome to another hot video. Listen, today I bought a property for right around $7,000 and actually funded it using a credit card. Shout out to Navy Federal Credit Union. Now you might be asking, how in the world did you do it? How is it possible to buy houses with credit cards? That sounds crazy, right? How is this even possible? Well, to be honest with you, using credit cards is just like using cash, if not better. Once you learn the credit card game, you go to another level in the matrix. The only difference is, it's coming from somebody else again. The banks do it all the time. Let me tell you, this whole game is about real estate. In the real estate game, we have a secret acronym. One of the acronyms that we use is OPM, other people's money, and OPC, other people's credit. Look, you gotta learn the game or get hustled or ran over. Now, like I was saying, OPM is a key acronym here. What that stands for is other people's money. Now, with other people's money, and you can use other people's credit as well, but what I want to talk about is how to get started buying houses with credit cards. What you truly want to get into is how you can get started with using credit cards to fund deals. If you don't have access to a lot of capital, if you have very little credit right now, I'm going to show you some ways to get a leg up in the game. I'm going to share with you some points on how you can build that credit up to be able to fund those deals, and I'm going to share with you 2 different ways that you can fund real estate using credit cards, especially again, if you don't have a lot of money right now. Which a lot of people, especially during this day and age, a lot of people just don't have access to a lot of cash. So this is going to be the jump start that you need in order to get started. So let's jump into these 5 steps. The first thing you want to do is build up your credit. Now in the Hustler's Degree playlist, I have a free class on how to build your credit score to 800. A credit score is a 3-digit number, typically between 300 and 850, that represents an individual's credit worthiness, or the likelihood they will repay a loan or credit obligation on time. A credit score is a numerical representation of your credit history, calculated using information from your credit reports. Lenders, such as banks and credit card companies, use credit scores to assess the risk of lending money to you and to determine factors like interest rates and credit limits. Your credit score is based on several factors, including your payment history, the amount of debt you have, the length of your credit history, the types of credit you use, and how much of your available credit you're using. A good credit score can make it easier to get loans, credit cards, and other forms of credit, and can also lead to lower interest rates and better terms. What are some simple ways to build personal credit? One way is to apply for a loan that is held by our bank partners. Your money is secured and protected in a bank account, then pay off the loan in 24 months. Each on-time payment builds credit history with all 3 credit bureaus and adds to your savings. Then get money back at the end after building credit history. Your paid-off loan unlocks your CD and you get the money back, minus interest and fees. Another way is to get a secured card. Use your secured card to make small everyday purchases and pay your statement balance in full every month. However, avoid maxing out your credit card. Even if you have a low utilization rate on other cards, maxing out just one card could harm your credit score. A secured credit card can help build credit, but it takes time. Expect to see improvements in your credit score within 6 to 12 months of responsible use, including making on-time payments and keeping balances low. Secured cards are designed to help people build credit who might not qualify for traditional credit cards due to a lack of credit history or a low credit score. They work by requiring a security deposit that becomes your credit limit, and responsible use of the card, paying on time and keeping balances low, is reported to credit bureaus. While the time it takes to see improvements varies depending on individual circumstances, it generally takes 6 to 12 months of responsible use to see a noticeable difference in your credit score. When it comes to funding deals using credit cards, the trick is to build up credit right. You got to build your own personal credit. This is kind of an obvious thing, right? Another simple way in order to be able to do this is, now listen up, this is the game, by piggybacking off of somebody else's credit. Listen, this is $1 million worth of game. Really, this will give you an instant impact on your credit score. What is piggybacking? Credit card piggybacking is another name for becoming an authorized user on someone else's credit card account so you can establish credit or increase your credit score. Piggybacking on someone else's credit means becoming an authorized user on their credit card account, potentially benefiting from their credit history and positive payment history to build your own credit score. Here's a more detailed explanation. When you're added as an authorized user, you can make purchases and payments on the card, but the primary cardholder is ultimately responsible for the account. Credit building. If the primary cardholder has a good payment history and credit utilization, your credit report will also reflect that, potentially boosting your credit score. How it works. The credit card issuer reports the activity on the account to the credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and both the primary cardholder and the authorized user's credit reports will reflect the account activity. Things to consider. While this can be a quick way to build credit, it's important to have a clear agreement with the primary cardholder about how purchases will be paid back, and to be mindful of responsible credit usage. Not a perfect solution. Piggybacking doesn't erase any past credit mistakes, and it's important to understand that the primary cardholder is ultimately responsible for the account. If a friend or family member with good credit adds you to their credit card account as an authorized user, you typically get a card with your name on it that's attached to that account. Let's just say you had a 580 credit score, right? Now your credit sucked. You haven't been keeping up with it and you need a higher score instantly. If you know somebody who has a decent credit score, like somewhere right around 7 or 725 or 750, if they just added you to their credit cards that they're paying on time already, you're instantly going to get an impact on your credit score. This is easily going to boost it up 50 points, maybe 25, somewhere in that range. It could even be higher than that. It depends on your personal credit situation, but at the end of the day, you're going to have some type of impact positively on your credit score if they're paying their bills on time, and the more they pay their bills, the higher your credit score goes. So how can you find someone that you can piggyback off of? One recommendation is to spend a little bit of money, offer something in exchange for them adding you to the card, right? How do you do that? Really, it's simple. If you know a family member or friend who has great credit, and you offer to pay the minimum balance for them every single month in exchange for them adding you to their credit card, that will have the impact that you need. That will provide you with the score that you need over time in order to be able to fund deals and build credit for your personal situation, right? So, again, keep it really simple. Don't overcomplicate this. If you ask enough people who might have decent credit and you offer to pay their credit card bills in exchange for them adding you to their credit, man, somebody's going to say yes, right? As long as you pay that bill on time, their credit is going to continue to get better, and your credit is going to continue to get better as well. And before you know it, within a 90-day time frame, you might be able to qualify for your own credit cards at that point, but do not remove yourself from their lines of credit. Keep yourself on those bills. That's key. Another way to do it is to simply start cleaning up the old stuff that's on your credit. If you have derogatory stuff, which we will get more into. If you have collections and things like that, talk to a credit repair company and start cleaning up your credit to start building your credit and start boosting that score. Once your score boosts up, you go to American Express. Even places like Navy Federal will provide you with a decent amount on a credit card to be able to help boost up your scores. The guys at Navy Federal are the best in the world. Man, I love Navy Federal Credit Union. I can walk in there and just think of a number and they will give me a blank check. Now, another thing you want to know is how to get a credit line increase. To do this, start asking for credit line increases at your bank. So once you start building your credit and you start getting these credit card offers in and you're making your payments on time and things like that, the next thing you want to do is start asking for credit increases. Now, there's a couple of different things, a couple of different benefits to asking for a credit line increase. Number one, eventually you'll have enough money to purchase real estate using that credit card, right? But number two, what's going to happen is this is going to help you increase your scores because your credit usage is not going to be the same anymore. Let's just say you have a bad score simply because you're maxing out your credit cards. If you can get a credit line increase, your credit usage is basically going to be less than what it was before. You got the credit line increase, ultimately allowing you to get a score increase because of it. So not only are you benefiting by having access to more capital, but you're also benefiting by allowing yourself to be able to get a score increase simply because you've asked for a credit line increase. You have not because you asked not. Matthew chapter 7, verse 7. Now here's a small trick. When it comes to asking for credit line increases and maxing out the amount that you can potentially get, You contact the credit card company in order to get a credit line increase, and that particular bank asks you how much you need. Your very next response should be, "How much can you give me?" Remember, they got it. Also remember, the banks are hustlers too, and they got to make money. Remember, this is just like negotiating with buyers and sellers in real estate. You got this. It's a walk in the park, or like taking candy from a baby. Like my grandpa Jim used to say, the person who provides the number first is the one who loses the negotiation. So what we typically like to do is respond with, "How much can you give me?" And they may reply with, "Well, you have to give me a number," and your simple reply to that is going to be, "Let's see what the max amount is that I can possibly get right now." The whole point is, you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot and provide them with a lower amount than you can potentially get on the back end. So for example, let's just say you have a credit card with $5,000 on it and you go for a credit line increase and the bank says, "How much do you need?" and you tell them $7,500. They may have been willing to give you $15,000, but you told them $7,500, and now you just shot yourself in the foot for another $7,500 that you could have had access to, okay? My grandpa Jim was the best at this. That's who I learned from. So, be mindful of that. Treat this like negotiating with buyers and sellers in a real estate deal. When you contact the credit card company to get a credit line increase, they're going to verify your income and things like that, but when they start asking you how much do you want access to, simply reply with, "How much can I get?" Try your best not to provide them with a number. I repeat Hustler's Game 101. Try not to provide them with a number. If you have to, then you have to. Always shoot higher than what you need, but try your best not to let them put out the first number and then you take it. Okay, so let's go over this again. We got step number 1 is to build your credit. Step number 2 is to get the credit cards. Step number 3 is to start getting credit line increases, using credit cards for down payments on real estate, which leads us into the real estate portion of this video. Now, step number 4 and 5 is a simple way to purchase real estate right. So let's just say, for example, you have a $50,000 property that you need 20% down on to close the deal, but you want to create a no money down situation. If you can get 15 to 20,000 in credit line increases, that can fund the down payment that you need, creating a no money down situation for you. So, as you get access to more and more capital through credit lines, you can use those credit lines as down payments to be able to fund investment properties for you. Now, obviously, you want to work the numbers to make sure that even when you use the credit card, that rent that is going to come in from the property is going to be able to cover the credit card payment as well. But essentially what you're looking to do is work all the numbers to make sure that the rent is covering it, and ultimately using those credit line increases that you get in order to be able to buy more real estate, leading us into step 5. Using credit cards to buy real estate is exactly what I did today. I used a credit card in order to be able to purchase a property. Now here's the thing, I've never seen the property. It's 6 hours away from where I live. I'm never going to see the property, but we funded the deal. It was a $9,000 deal. We simply funded it using a credit card. So again, when you have access to credit lines, when you have access to credit cards with higher balances, you can use your credit card just like you would with cash or going to the bank to be able to fund the deal. All we did was transfer the funds from the credit card at 0% interest for 12 months. We transferred the funds that was available on one of the credit cards into my business bank account as a loan, and we're simply going to pay the money back once we decide on our exit strategy. An exit strategy is a plan that allows a business owner, investor, or trader to sell their ownership in a company or liquidate assets when certain criteria are met, aiming to maximize profits, minimize losses, and ensure a smooth transition upon departure. With this particular one, we're probably going to list it on the market and sell it as a hotel deal. The point is, I can decide to keep it long-term. If I wanted to, I can decide to do a lease option. This is how you control the game, young elder gang. The whole point is, I have options with this type of transaction because we purchased the deal using 0% interest on a credit card. I'm telling you, get these credit line increases in order to make deals like this work. You can have access to the capital in order to be able to get more deals, and once you have access to the capital, the sky is the limit. So, I hope you benefited from the information in this video. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about this strategy. This is something that we've done a couple of times. I can't say we do a lot of it, but when the time is right, we have access to the credit limits to be able to do it, and you want to have access to that capital as well. Hope you like this video. See you in the next one. Peace.